You know, so many stories have been spoken about plants. There are so many people among us yourselves who've had the courage and the audacity of walking through the thickets of the forests we have around. There are so many mysteries that have been spoken about some of the most renowned plants that can make somebody who has suffered for so many years to get healed. Personally, I have witnessed a situation where somebody who was hospitalized for almost a year without having any form of progress in terms of medication, simply because he was having a complication inside his own body that became so difficult for even medical doctors to ascertain exactly the kind of medication that is supposed to be applied. And then somebody came from nowhere with some good news that he had some kind of medication, herbal in nature. So these people, simply because they were so desperate, they tried the medication this individual was having. Do you know what is funny? After a week or so, this guy got healed. That is the time I came to discover that there is life in nature. That is the moment I came to discover that most of these trees we've been seeing around, they are so important to our lives without us knowing. That is the information I have for you today in this channel. For those of you who are visiting this channel for the first time, I would kindly request you to subscribe, and at the same time you hit the notification bell in order for you to keep on enjoying the many natural supplements bulletins I have arranged for you. I have thought it wise to bring to you the information I had promised you last time. I know most of you may have come across some of the common weeds, most that have been planted by people as a form of beautification without knowing some of the mysteries that lies behind those flowers. There are so many of them, but today I'm going to talk one of the most common shrub that you've been seeing around. If you visit some of the flower beds that you've been seeing around, you won't miss to see or find this shrub I'm going to talk about. This is a plant that is so dangerous to any bacterial infection. Those people who have found themselves in the receiving end, either being affected by any form of bacteria or fungal, that is the best remedy for that matter. The plant itself is known as the aloe vera. Aloe vera is a plant, it's a common plant you have been seeing on our flower beds. Most people have been taking it as some form of beauty plant, a plant that can possess some kind of beauty. without knowing that it has some very strong medicinal properties and compounds that can suppress any form of bacteria or fungal infection. That is the plant I had told you last time when I was launching my first video, where I had talked about the rosemary. So today I'm going to tell you some of the most common characteristics of this plant that we call the aloe vera. As you can see on the screen, this is a plant that has got some unique features. If you can see it clearly, you will discover that it has some very funny leaves that do not resemble the normal ones of some other plants that you may have been seeing around. Those leaves of aloe vera, they are thick in nature. They are thick in nature, meaning that is the reservoir to where it stores its water, unlike the usual plants which normally stores water in their stem. So when you try to analyze this plant that we call the aloe vera, you will discover that there are some characteristics on these leaves that I've already talked about. If you can see along the edges of those leaves, you can see some thorns that can harm somebody if he or she tries to harvest that plant without taking precautions. So it is very important when you are harvesting this aloe vera, you must be very cautious, because those thorns, they are so harmful to your body. Now, what are the uses of this maiden magic plant that we call the aloe vera? Aloe vera itself, according to the research that has been done of recent, is one of the most dangerous antibacterial exterminator, something that can exterminate completely any form of bacterial or fungal infection. So that is one of the most paramount use of this plant that we call the aloe vera. Aloe vera itself, according to the research that has been done of recent, is the most reliable remedy to those people who are having bacterial or fungal infection. So once you discover that inside your body or outside any part of your body there is an infection of bacteria, then this is the best remedy. Now, which part of this plant is used as a remedy? As you can see, those leaves that I've already talked about, which are thick in nature, if you try to pluck any part of it and try to squeeze, you will discover that there is a jelly-like substance that will ooze out of those leaves. It is this jelly-like substance that comes out of those leaves that would act as a remedy. That is the only component of this aloe vera that has got some very strong pain relieving agents. So that is the part, or that is one of the most aspects of this plant that is usually used to treat bacterial or fungal infection. So while trying to harvest this aloe vera, it has been said that there are so many ways you can utilize that jelly-like substance to treat any form of bacterial infection. So I've already said that if you want to reap the best out of that plant, you are supposed to squeeze. You squeeze it in order to force that gel-like substance to come out. That is the one that you are supposed to apply on those surfaces that have been infected by any form of bacteria or fungal infection. So in most cases, it has been discovered that there are some other more ailments, human ailments, that can be treated using this plant that we call the aloe vera. If you want to eliminate wrinkles, you see, as time goes by, we human beings, we get aged. And the most characteristics, or something that usually happens once somebody has lived in this world for so many years, you will discover that there are some wrinkles that will start forming, especially on his or her forehead. So in order for you to eliminate those wrinkles, it has been discovered that if you keep on applying that jelly-like substance on your forehead, definitely you will force those wrinkles to vanish out of your forehead. So that is one of the most paramount use of this plant that we call the aloe vera. Another usage is that it can control or regulate the blood sugar. Those people who have diabetes, so this is the best remedy for diabetes. It keeps on balancing the sugar of the blood. So that is another important usage of this plant that we call aloe vera. It regulates the blood sugar. So another important area or another important usage of this aloe vera plant is that it fights tooth decay. If you have a problem either with your gums inside your mouth, this is the best remedy. It will fight those cavities. In fact, of recent, it has been discovered that this plant that we call aloe vera works tremendously well than even the normal toothpastes we have been purchasing from renowned hyper markets. So if you want to treat your mouth, so aloe vera is the best remedy for that matter. Another thing that you can use this plant this plant of aloe vera to treat is what we call any fungal or bacterial infection on the surface of your skin. I think you may have come across a situation where some people get disturbed by scratching any of the parts of their body continuously without having any form of remedy that can suppress the influence of that bacteria or fungal infection. So if you apply that jelly-like substance that comes out of the leaves of this plant that we call aloe vera, definitely you will suppress the influence of that bacterial infection. And after a few days, you will discover that you've gotten healed. So that is another important usage of this plant that we call the aloe vera. Another thing that you can use this plant to treat is it aids the growth of hair, human hair, especially those people who have a bald on their heads. This is the right remedy you are supposed to utilize in order for you to aid the growth of hair on any part of the body that does not have any human hair, especially those bald-headed individuals. So that is the best remedy for you to use. Another important usage of this plant that we call aloe vera is constipation. Once you've discovered that digestion is not taking place inside your body, this is the best remedy for that. Once you squeeze that jelly-like substance out of those leaves, try to mix it with some clean distilled water and then take it or drink it. Once it reaches inside your stomach, it will normalize the activities that are supposed to take place in order for digestion or proper digestion to take place. So that is another important usage of this plant that we call aloe vera. And in most cases, I know you may have come across this plant either inside the thickets of the forests we have or on the flower beds of people. This is a plant that can make you get healed once you possess any form of bacterial infection, especially that type of bacteria that we call mycoplasmic. Mycoplasmic bacteria are the kind of bacteria that does not possess a cell wall. And if you try or once infected by this kind of bacteria, if you try to use the normal antibiotics that we normally purchase from renowned pharmaceutical outlets, it may sound difficult for those antibiotics to suppress the influence of that bacteria. But if you use this aloe vera jelly, then be assured or guaranteed to eliminate that form of bacteria completely. So it is some form of antiseptic in nature. So this is a plant that you are not supposed to miss on your flower beds. It is a plant that can do wonders on your body. It is a plant that can make you not to spend more money in purchasing artificially commercialized antibiotics. So this is a natural supplement. And remember, most of these commercially manufactured antibiotics are manufactured out of this maiden magic plant that we call aloe vera. So if you utilize it naturally the way it is, be guaranteed of reaping the best out of it, because the other commercialized antibiotics, they have undergone some processes that usually reduces their suitability for usage in our human bodies. So it is very important for you to utilize this plant that we call the aloe vera. The aloe vera that has got a jelly-like substance that has some very strong pain-relieving compounds that can suppress the influence of any fungal or bacterial infection. So that is the one you are supposed to use in the event you discover that you have been affected by either fungal or bacterial infection. So that is the part that you are supposed to utilize. And it is very important for you to clean those leaves first before trying to utilize them. So once you have harvested those leaves, you are supposed to clean them so that they may be free of any form of impurities or germs that may curtail their usage when trying to administer yourself in the event you have discovered that you are having any form of bacterial infection. Another thing for those women who want to maintain the texture of their skin, they want to remain beauty in nature, this is the best remedy. This is the best lubricant you are supposed to apply on your skin, either on the face, and after a few days you will discover that you have improved the texture of your skin. Remember, some of those renowned lotions you have been purchasing from various pharmaceutical joints, they are manufactured out of this aloe vera plant. So once you utilize it naturally the way it is, be guaranteed of getting some positive results. That is the moment you will become a happy man or a happy woman living on this earth. So from today, if you never had this plant on your compound, it is high time for you to make arrangements and try to get one, so that you may plant it inside your compound or on your flower bed, in order for you to utilize it in the event you discover that you or any of your family members has been affected by any form of bacteria or fungal infection. That is the time you will discover that those are some of the most secrets that most people never knew. I have personally come to discover that we human beings, we are so negligent. Once you discover information, or once you come across this important information, go and put it into practice. That is the best way you will discover some of the most hidden secrets that you didn't know, or that you may have lived for so many years without knowing. So make the best use of this information that I have provided for you. And once you find any form of difficulties, you are supposed to consult anybody who is qualified. I think he or she may come to your rescue by providing you with the necessary information. You may try to inquire from him or her. So in the end, we shall live happily without any form of complication. This is one important area that has assisted most people, especially from the Indian origin, to live in this world for so many years without having any form of diseases or without having any form of complexities inside their bodies. That is why it is very rare to find these people going to hospitals trying to seek treatments, because they don't fall sick easily. Their diet is strictly natural. They have a very strong belief that if you want to live happily in this world, then you must adhere to the basic principles of nutrition. That is why they are always very strict when it comes to taking their meals. That is even why you find them looking healthier than any other normal human person.